Sentinels have had a very interesting week.
As you've seen, there's been some changes. I'm going to be moving up to the head coach role. Our boy Tyson, not feeling so good. We're going to be bringing Marv in.
So let's talk about it. I wanted to just take a quick look at this Sentinels versus Leviathan series because it seems to have sparked a pretty big change for America's most popular team. So we're going to hop into a round here on Ascent, and as we can see, Sentinels is doing pretty well so far. This is a great map for Leviathan historically, but Sentinels is up 10-6, and this round in particular is going to start off super well for them as they get two super quick kills, one with a spam kill with an Odin, and then they take out Takalea, who's trying to push out middle. And Sentinels now has a 5 against 3, and they're facing 3 pistols. So this should be a absolute free round win. Now, let's go ahead and play the clip a little bit farther and just see how Sentinels reacts to this particular play. We're going to see Def flash and try to charge down Market. He eats a bullet, and then there's a push out of middle, and suddenly Sentinels finds themselves in a 3-on-3, Saucy down at 1 HP. What is going on in this round? How has Sentinels lost such a huge advantage, especially against an eco? Mazzino finds another kill, and things have gone completely awry. So let's quickly go back and just break down what went wrong in this round, because as we can see, there's a single hero rifle for the side of Leviathan. They have 1 Vandal on Takalea, and then they have 4 pistols to start the round. So not a whole lot of resources to work with. Sentinels reading the round correctly. We're going to see this nice spam kill from Pankata over here. And then in response to Takalea trying to get an advantage with this hero rifle, Sentinels is going to sit him down very quickly and get off to a super big start. Now, here is where things become a little bit iffy, because I want to just quickly look at the positioning of the players. It seems a little bit strange that we have a Jet in the back. Generally speaking, if you're going to speed up into Market, you kind of want your Jet to be leading the way, with KO flashing for the Jet and taking that initial duel. So why is TenZ so far back, and why is Def the one running in after his own flash, only to get headshot by King there? I think the problem lies in the spacing that we see right here. When Sentinels came out into middle, we see that TenZ goes over here to try and take a long duel into middle. Meanwhile, the other 2 players, Saucy and Def, come out and start advancing towards the middle archway. Meanwhile, Zekken is droning for them, so Sentinels is trying to take advantage of this drone by taking space behind it and not giving Leviathan any chance to kind of fill after the drone dissipates. And then we're going to see Zekken go ahead and loop back around with the Killjoy. And the reason that he's doing this is because they don't want anybody to be taking a solo fight, right? They have this big advantage. The worst thing that could possibly happen is for a solo player to try and make a play for Sentinels and then feed away a rifle to a solo player on Leviathan. So Zekken is going to group up here with Pankata, and they're going to slowly advance through B main. The problem that I see here is that when Sentinels came out into middle, for whatever reason, TenZ was in the back. And then as Sentinels goes up the middle, TenZ is trying to catch up to his teammates. And the reason that TenZ is in the back as we get closer to the Market area is because Saucy went up with Def, and that left TenZ with the responsibility of watching the cat doorway. So TenZ kind of can't come up quickly with his teammates, because if he ignores the cat doorway, then somebody could swing out and shoot them from behind. And so what needs to happen here, in my opinion, is Sentinels needs to just chill. They have a 2-player lead. They're against nothing but pistols. They don't need to speed this round up. But even if they do want to speed this round up, they need to clearly communicate who has what responsibility. Everybody on this level of team should know by now this play where a KO flashes off this wall and the Jet dashes on the player in Market. That's a very, very common way to take Market on Ascent. And so I'm kind of surprised that they don't just kind of go into that protocol. So if TenZ was up here and Saucy was the one hanging back watching this angle, then I'm pretty sure this entire situation would have been avoided. So because TenZ is trying to do the right thing and make sure that his team doesn't get shot in the back, it ends up with Def being the one trying to capitalize off his own flash and that gives King enough time to turn the flash and be ready for the shot. Now things go from bad to worse here, because as TenZ tries to catch up and trade his teammate who died because TenZ wasn't there initially, this allows Mazzino to come out and snag the one rifle that Leviathan started the round with. And this also gives him a chance to flank very, very quickly, which is going to run him into TenZ. I'm not entirely sure what TenZ is doing as far as like trying to quickly back out from the middle area and dashing directly into Mazzino. That was a bit of a strange play, but I think at this point the round is so chaotic because of things going wrong that he's just trying to, you know, re-secure the spike and not let it drop deep in market, where it becomes much more difficult for Sentinels to actually reclaim control of the round. So obviously mistakes happen, and I can't fault Sentinels for having one poorly played round, but the very next round we see some other concerning signs for the Sentinels roster. Right off the start, they do a pretty good job of contesting this A main. They get Mazzino down to 8 HP, and they create quite a bit of pressure towards the A side of the map. And it looks like Sentinels is basically trying to set up for a split with 2 players coming in through Catwalk and 3 players coming in through A main. And we're gonna have the KO actually popping his ultimate once he gets in range to try and deactivate the utility from the players on site. So as we can see, everything is set, right? Drone is ready, TenZ is waiting for the drone, and Def is about to pop his null command on the catwalk. So here we go, just finally clearing this corner. Null command is popped. There should be a drone now leading the way onto the site for TenZ to follow, and there's none. There's no drone. Suddenly TenZ walks out into the open, gets beamed from L on the site, and then we see a drone trying to lead the way through the smoke. Zekin walks in and dies, and I am just left scratching my head. What is going on here? This is such a basic play. You follow the drone in on the jet. Why is the coordination so off on such a basic play? I don't understand. And the big thing for me is that these are pretty basic mistakes. And so it just kind of leads me to believe that Sentinels is maybe not playing together enough, which would be weird to say because I assume that they're scrimming a bunch, but it just looks like they don't fully trust each other. And these are types of things that teams that have been playing a lot of scrims together or over an extended period of time would not be making. It's just such a basic coordination thing that I have to wonder, are they just not scrimming enough? Or are there some language issues with the 2 Brazilian players, or what? I mean, that was between TenZ and Zekin and Def, who all are fluent in English, and so are Pancata and Saucy from the interviews that I've seen. So I don't really know what to look at here, but it's just such a weird mistake that I wanted to point it out. So the crazy part about all of this is that Leviathan ends up coming back and taking the lead in this map and threatening to 2-0 Sentinels, only to have Sentinels come back from this dire situation with some unbelievable rounds to close it out, 13-11. And here's one of those rounds from Saucy. He ends up getting a spam kill through smoke, and then sitting at 13 HP, he's going to find 2 more kills, 1 blind and another one against Takalia, who somehow misses every bullet on him. And this was not just a one-off event. Here's another round where Sentinels comes in, they lose some initial duels, it looks like things are not going well for them, and once again, it's the Brazilian duo who's going to come in clutch. We're going to see Saucy grab the spike and teleport to B. Together with Pancata, they're going to find a crazy round win with 30 HP, ducking Odin shots to barely outlast this round and push themselves to 12. Once again, at map point, with everything hanging in the balance, it's again going to take a crazy individual play to pull Sentinels across the finish line. So none of those final 3 rounds that they won were clean. None of them really they had any business winning, and somehow they got it done with just basically pure playmaking ability. And that's kind of the hallmark of the Sentinels brand. They have these crazy individually skilled players, all of which can be playmakers. And to be fair, they stepped up and pushed this series to a map 3, where they subsequently got kind of obliterated. But the fact is they were able to win this game against a very good team on kind of their home map. So what does this all say about Sentinels? Their coordination looks extremely poor at times. Their individual skill and talent is clearly there, but also seems to be very inconsistent. And despite all that, I would still say that this week they looked better than the previous week, and they seem to be potentially moving in the right direction. So I was extremely surprised when I saw that their head coach had been fired. I do think that Kaplan is a proven and good head coach. We saw him develop a ghost team and make them kind of monsters in the tier 2 scene, and many of those ghost players are having success elsewhere. He's certainly got a lot of work on his hands, so I definitely wish him well. Let me know what you think of this whole situation in the comments below. I generally don't really know what to think myself.